Ishan Prabhu, Hare Krishna. We're now
Har-
live on YouTube, so take the stage. The stage is yours.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Namam Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha, Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, Namane Gauratashe Namaha. Namo Brahmanaya Devaya, Gobramanya Hitayacha, Jagadatai Krishnaya Govindaya, Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vas Hari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. You know, I was reading one book. Here it is. Chaitanya Bhagavat by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. And
Beautiful book.
so many scenes in which we see again and again that Lord Chaitanya, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya, at the same time, and his devotees, they worship him so completely. They see him with so much respect and so much reverence. They're actually in awe. They don't know what to expect next from him, because one minute Lord Chaitanya is he's in the role of a devotee, and he's feeling that 100%. He's feeling separation from Krishna, and he's wanting to have this sense of connection with all of his heart, and then the next moment he's feeling this connection with Krishna, and his spiritual ecstasy is beyond. It's just it's overwhelming to be in his presence. And the next minute, he's not in the mood of a devotee at all. He sits on not on the Vyasasana, he actually sits on the altar at times, and he talks about as he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's so great because he's Krishna himself, taking the role of a devotee. He's feeling the love that Srimati Radharani feels for him. He's feeling the mood of separation that Srimati Radharani feels for him. But even though he's so superior, and his devotees, even Advaita Acharya, who sometimes described as an incarnation of Mahavishnu, and sometimes as Lord Shiva. So I'm not completely clear on understanding that, but he's so great. But he only wants to consider himself. Imagine Mahavishnu, from whom all the universes emanate. And he considered, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I'm a servant of Lord Chaitanya and a servant of his servants. And he always feels just so uncomfortable when Lord Chaitanya shows him respect. So the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, they feel that he's so great and they're in such awe and reverence. And whatever he asks of them, and at the immediately they'll do anything he asks. And at the same time, in their relationship with Lord Chaitanya, they are helping Lord Chaitanya to be Krishna conscious. Now, this is, he has different devotees who chant bhajans very, very nicely about Krishna. And when they start to sing, Lord Chaitanya starts to dance in ecstasy. They're helping Lord Chaitanya to be Krishna conscious. In the same way, in Jagannath Puri, Maharaj Prataparudra, he was the king of Orissa, and he wanted so much to have the darshan of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya was in the very, very strict role of a sannyasi. And he said, I can't associate with people who are kings, who are dealing with so many worldly things, because I'm a sannyasi. That's the protocol, very strict protocol. So they figured out, the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, that Maharaj Prataparudra, he would disguise himself as an ordinary person. And he would come in when Lord Chaitanya was in the Rath Yatra parade and taking some time off from the parade in a garden, surrounded by his devotees. So Maharaj Prataparudra would come dressed as an ordinary person. And he did. And Lord Chaitanya was in a kind of a trance, of internal feeling. And Maharaj Prataparudra began to recite verses from Srimad Bhagavatam about Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya embraced him and said, don't stop, don't stop. So let's try and understand this, that there's a relationship between the student and the spiritual master. And the student, he's learning about Krishna consciousness from the spiritual master, but at the same time, he's helping the spiritual master to be Krishna conscious. Imagine the Swarup Damodari, he's singing the shlokas of Jayadev Goswami for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya, helping him be in ecstasy. Ramananda Roy, Lord Chaitanya is asking him all kinds of questions about how to be Krishna conscious. Haridas Thakur, Lord Chaitanya is asking Haridas Thakur all about how to be a devotee, and the whole Haridas Thakur's answers are the Sri Harinam Chintamani, and Lord Chaitanya just loves it. So whether it's Ramananda Roy helping Lord Chaitanya to enjoy Krishna consciousness, or Haridas Thakur helping Lord Chaitanya to be Krishna conscious, or Maharaj Prataparudra helping Lord Chaitanya to be Krishna conscious. There's so many examples. So what does this mean? It means that we have a relationship with our spiritual master, following in the footsteps of all these devotees, or when those intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya are singing about Krishna, making kirtan. And Lord Chaitanya says, sing, sing, sing. He loves it so much. So we can learn from this that that's their service. They're serving their spiritual master by sharing Krishna consciousness with him. We can do the same thing with Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. This is when we chant. So Haridas Thakur explains in his Sri Harinam Chintamani that when we chant our japa, we should be simultaneously thinking of Krishna and our spiritual master. We're actually chanting for Srila Prabhupada's pleasure. And if we chant for Srila Prabhupada's pleasure, he becomes very happy and he shares his Krishna consciousness with us. This is how the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, how they enjoyed Lord Chaitanya's, they were learning from him. It's called subjective instruction in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabhupada explains that there's two kinds of spiritual masters. One of them gives philosophical instruction. It's called objective instruction. And the other one gives subjective instruction. He shares his feelings, his devotional feelings. And this is the way in which Lord Chaitanya principally taught Krishna consciousness, by sharing his devotional. Wherever he went, people were overwhelmed with Lord Chaitanya's expression of Krishna consciousness. They were just spellbound to see somebody who had demonstrating such feelings of love for Krishna. So, in our relationship with our spiritual master, and so Haridas Thakur says that when we chant, we should be meditating on our spiritual master. So we try to please him by chanting very nicely. Well, we can say, I have not very much great feeling for chanting the holy name. But Srila Prabhupada, he loves to hear the holy name. It doesn't matter even who's chanting the holy name. A pure devotee, when he hears the holy name, he loves it. It gives him great spiritual, ecstatic feeling. So we can chant for the pleasure of our spiritual master. chant for Srila Prabhupada's pleasure. So what happens when we actually try sincerely to chant our japa or our kirtan, our bhajan, for Srila Prabhupada's pleasure? We can begin to feel or sense or become aware of Srila Prabhupada's Krishna consciousness, of his enjoyment of the holy name, of his love for Krishna, of his what's the word I'm looking for? His joyfulness in Krishna consciousness, his joyful enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. And we can imbibe the taste of his devotion. So this is a kind of conversation or relationship in which we help Srila Prabhupada to be Krishna consciousness, and he shares his Krishna consciousness with us. And this is not an advanced position. This is a basic neophyte position. In 1.5.25 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada says, the neophyte devotee imbibes the taste of devotion in the association of the pure devotee. And this relationship goes on from one stage to the next. In the first stage in which we imbibe the taste of devotion from the pure devotee, we actually can come from the stage of material attachment to the stage of anartha nivritti, where our material attachments are dissipated. The way Srila Prabhupada expresses it, he says, when the neophyte imbibes the taste of devotion that's being expressed by the spiritual master, the self-realized spiritual master, it makes material tastes unattractive to him. That's the way Srila Prabhupada. Again, we sing every morning that this love of Krishna emanates from him. Prema bhakti yaha hoite avidya vinashayati. From him, this love of Krishna emanates, and if we can catch it, by him our ignorance is destroyed, because we get the taste. When we have that taste of love of Krishna, or enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness, then our enthusiasm for material things it diminishes proportionately. That's why, the very first line in our Guru Puja prayer that we sing every morning is that the lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way by which we can acquire this taste of Krishna consciousness. So we're actually learning Krishna consciousness from him. It's not so much that by practicing these things mechanically, doing what we're supposed to do, but by actually sharing, or how do we say, to engage in Krishna consciousness in the association of a pure devotee. And if we can share this Krishna with him, he shares his Krishna consciousness with us. And then we imbibe that taste and we practice with that taste. And that's called engaging in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a pure devotee. So we have to learn how to open our heart to him. So how to open our heart to him? If we can open our heart to him, this conversation, this transcendental conversation or transcendental reciprocation becomes manifest. We feel his presence. We sense his joy in Krishna consciousness, and we get when we did psychedelics before we were a devotee. That was many years ago. We would talk about a contact high. That if you were with somebody who was high, you would get their energy. And you would be high even without taking the psychedelics. So you get a contact high in relationship with Srila Prabhupada. So there are certain things, this mind and this body, they're the medium or the instrument through which we can become Krishna consciousness. This body and mind, they modify our consciousness. And we have to have a certain kind of consciousness in order to have that transcendental sense of connection with him. There's one a shloka in Ishopanishad, Sri Ishopanishad, which says that the devotee or the disciples feels himself. He says that he sees that Krishna is as brilliant as the sun, and he says, "Like unto the sun as am I." That we have to begin to accept, and embrace the understanding of ourself as a beautiful spirit soul. We have to begin to accept our divinity. It's like sometimes when the disciple will say something, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, I'm so fallen, I'm so this, I'm so that," and Srila Prabhupada will say, "You're so nothing. You just chant Hare Krishna." So these feelings are not productive. What we have to do is accept our beauty. And when also we have to become utsahan, nectar of instruction, enthusiastic, filled with joyful enthusiasm. Oh, and another thing we have to do is become joyful. Actually, Krishna says in 1854 of Bhagavad Gita that it's only when somebody becomes joyful, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, it's only when one becomes joyful that he can Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param, that then one can feel devotional. That joyfulness, enthusiasm. Why is he joyful? Because he's seen himself as like unto the sun, as am I. That that I'm part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna's pure transcendental spiritual nature. I have the same spiritual nature. I'm an infinitesimal spirit soul, but I'm part of Krishna. We have to contemplate these things and begin to accept. So that's part of why Krishna consciousness is only a question, Srila Prabhupada says, of understanding and accepting. So what do we have to understand and accept? We have to understand that I'm not this body means, and I'm not this mind with its other feelings also, but that I'm pure spirit soul, and we have to accept that, embrace that. And it's not an artificial imposition on the mind, Srila Prabhupada says, rather, it's our real consciousness. The artificial imposition on the mind is to feel anything else. To feel these material feelings is artificial. It's not our real nature. It's illusory. We call it Maya, that which is not. So we have to begin. So this is all part of understanding and accepting, is to understand that Aham Brahmasmi, I'm spirit, I'm Krishna. I'm Krishna's tiny part, infinitesimal part of Krishna, spiritually pure as Krishna. And to associate with God, one has to be as pure as God. We are, but we have to accept it. That's why. So it's not something that we have to come to by earning it. In the material world, you have a time clock. If you have a job, you have a clock. And if you put in so many hours work, and then you get so much monetary reciprocation, you get paid. Krishna consciousness is not like that, that it's sequential, that this causes that, but it's a question of accepting it. And immediately one is on that platform. It's not that when I become, when I earn my realization, then I'll be joyful. It's when I'm joyful and accepting my spiritual identity that I have realization. And this is something we have to get used to, understanding. That's why Srila Prabhupada says, how long does it take to become a devotee? Is it one can be Krishna conscious in a second. It's simply a question of understanding and accepting. This is a kind of therefore, the next thing besides, so he says, one has to be joyful in order to be a devotee. Prasanatma, mad bhaktim lavate param. Then you can be devotional to me. What else? One has to accept their why is he joyful? Because he has the Brahma Bhuta means full acceptance of our spiritual identity, that I'm not this body, that I am spirit. I heard a lecture like that very recently, where Srila Prabhupada says, Brahma Bhuta means to have complete conviction that I am spirit. And then he says, and so then one becomes joyful. Then one can have devotional feelings. Then one can, as soon as one becomes joyful, what happens? He sees all other spirit souls as spirit soul. Samasarveshu bhuteshu. Oh, whatever. Before that, he says, as soon as one becomes joyful, na sochati na kankshati, his hankering material hankering and material lamentation subside. Why? Because our material hankering and lamentation is because we're not feeling complete within ourselves. But as soon as we become joyful, we feel complete within ourselves. And then Srila Prabhupada explains, Atmavan Manyate Jagat. We see everyone else in terms of the condition of our own mind. So what happens? Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, one becomes joyful within his heart. So his material hankering subsides because he feels complete. As soon as we're joyful, we feel complete, satisfied. And his material lamentations go away because he has nothing to lament. He has everything that he needs. And Atmavan Manya Jagat, because he's feeling this way about himself, he feels this way about everyone else. And then he says, Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. Now one can be devotional. So Srila Rupa Goswami says that Utsahan, you want to be a devotee, you got to be enthusiastic. So we take this joyful enthusiasm, and what's the next be after enthusiasm? The next one is confidence, which Srila Prabhupada explains as faith, that this is a reality. All I have to do is accept it, that there's Krishna and there's myself, his tiny servant. And Krishna is actually wanting my service. I saw a title of one lecture the other day where Srila Prabhupada, the title was that Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna is begging us to serve him. He wants that. That's why he's speaking Bhagavad Gita. He's trying to encourage us to accept our eternal constitutional position. So it's so important to be joyful. It's so important to accept our own spiritual beauty and we have to discard these other feelings of self-condemnation, of devaluation. That's why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was saying that we have to every morning beat the mind with a shoe, and every evening beat the mind with a broom. The mind wants to do so many other things. But if we can engage with joyful enthusiasm, now somebody may feel, oh, will Srila Prabhupada, he has such an authoritative posture, and we can feel intimidated by Srila Prabhupada's authoritative posture. As Srila Prabhupada told me one time that he only takes this, he's not enjoying that position. Actually, he feels boundless love for all of us. That's why he's here. He only wants to help us be Krishna conscious. So he said, because for the students at the very beginning, he takes this role, but it's not something he enjoys. He only takes this role to the degree that we require Otherwise, we have our own ideas. Just like Arjuna had so many ideas that why he should be in Maya. Arjuna was playing the role of a devotee who's in illusion. So, and then he says, all right, I'm going to accept you as my spiritual master. I'm not going to argue with you anymore. So for that reason, Srila Prabhupada takes this authoritative role. But at the same time, he's waiting for us to approach him. And so Atmavan Manyate Jagat, we see the world or the Jagat, the universe, in terms of the condition of our own mind, the condition of our own heart. When we approach Srila Prabhupada with joyful enthusiasm, we can proportionately sense his joyful enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. We don't see him as a very harsh, authoritative person. We see his and feel his love. So we have to try this on for size. The neophyte imbibes the taste of the Krishna consciousness of the pure devotee in his association. And therefore, association is like a crystal stone that reflects whatever is placed before it. Nectar of Devotion, chapter 12. The only thing, in other words, like a mirror. Our heart is like a mirror. Srila Prabhupada says he wants to have one moon. But the moon is like a mirror. The moon is receiving the rays from the sun. And in that way, it shines and illuminates the whole countryside. We're living in the forest here, and you can see the meadows and the trees on the hillside in the moonlight. The moon is reflecting the light of the sun. Srila Prabhupada is like the sun. He's shining his rays of Krishna consciousness on all of us. And he says he's hoping to find one moon amongst his disciples. Someone who can receive what? Prema Bhakti Yahoite. From him, the sunshine of love of Krishna emanates. If we can become moons, we can reflect that same love towards Krishna. So we have to have a very intimate relationship with our spiritual master. It's not that he gives us some assignments and we go and do them and then bring back some kind of progress report that I've completed this list or whatever. No, we're learning Krishna consciousness in the association of a pure devotee. We're actually, when we learn how to associate with the pure devotee, that's how we imbibe the taste of his devotion. Therefore, again and again, our literatures explain that the association of a pure devotee is the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. We imbibe the taste, or we reflect. So this personal relationship is there, and it's not something. It's a question of how do we approach it? We approach him with acceptance that this is a reality. That's what utsahan means, enthusiasm. And the next subject in the list is confidence. Confidence means that I believe this is real, that he's really there, waiting for me to approach him in this way, and that he can feel my consciousness, and in return, I can feel his consciousness. That's so, and patience. That patience, that this will grow. That this will grow. By being in his association, therefore Srila Prabhupada says that the first stage, anartha nivritti, next stage, one becomes steady, next stage, one begins to have spiritual emotions, next stage, one becomes situated in ecstatic love of Krishna. And all of these stages, Srila Prabhupada writes in the first canto, 1.5.25, all of these stages, they come into focus when one associates with a pure devotee. So then if one can have the confidence or acceptance, in other words, that this is a living reality, he can begin to do it. And one can do it in a second. And feel Srila Prabhupada's presence. So he says the mirror of our heart can reflect Srila Prabhupada's Krishna consciousness. But the mirror has to be clean. If the mirror is not clean, it can't be. So that means approaching him with a joyful heart that's free of this hankering and lamentation. Joyful heart on the one hand and free of lamentation on the other. They're not separate things. They're the two sides of the same coin. As much as we're joyful, we're free of lamentation and hankering. It's one way of being. It's like unto the sun as am I. It's embracing our joyful nature, and it's not an artificial imposition on the mind. It's our real consciousness. And it enables us to approach the pure devotee, and it enables us to imbibe the taste of his devotion. From him, Krishna Prem emanates, so that our ignorance is destroyed. In this way, we can cultivate Krishna consciousness in the association of a pure devotee, under the guidance of a pure devotee. And therefore, he says that he's the what's the words? He's a transparent via media. That, like a pair of glasses, if we see Srila Krishna, we can see Krishna. We're using Srila Prabhupada as a pair of transcendental glasses. What is it that how do we use Srila Prabhupada as a pair of glasses? Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena. That because his eyes are smeared with the salve of love of Krishna. When we see Krishna through Srila Prabhupada's vision, Krishna only reveals himself in response to how much we love him. But where will we get that love? Bhaktiya mama bijanati, Krishna says, we can't earn Krishna's audience or darshan by doing anything specific. It's not exactly what we do, but it's the consciousness with which we do it. If we brought Krishna a leaf with the right consciousness, he would reveal himself to us. We could distribute 100 books. We could distribute 1,000 books, maybe 100,000 books. But Krishna says that Bhakti Mama Vijanati, I don't show myself unless the love is there. He says, just offer me a leaf of fruit or some water. And if there's love, and in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, verse 2, in the purport, towards the end, Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna accepts only the love with which things are offered to him. So it's not a question of having a good track record that I've distributed so many books, or I've done this, or I've opened this temple building, or I've given $1 million, or whatever, or I've been dressing the deities for 10 years every morning now in the most opulent way. And therefore, as Srila Prabhupada says, we make a huge feast for Krishna with all the most opulent things, and we think Krishna must accept because these preparations we're making for him, cooking, they're so wonderful. Srila Prabhupada says, no, he says, for Krishna, there's no must. He says, you cannot make Krishna must. Krishna just wants our love. So where will we get the love? You see, we're taking the way in which we think about achieving things materially and applying it to how we understand how Krishna consciousness works. It doesn't work that way. We can't put in our time and our track record, or as Srila Prabhupada says, the formula. Or he's keeping the formula. Srila Prabhupada says very cynically. It's not that, he says it's not a mechanical process. It's a question of accepting the reality. So this is of Krishna consciousness and understanding that we're living in an illusion. It's a question. So if to accept it doesn't take any time, it's a question. It means that's why Srila Prabhupada says that one can do it in a second. And it's not that one has to be a very learned or a great philosopher or memorize Bhagavad Gita. He says that it's simple for the simple. That's why we have to become like simple. And what's the most simple person is the child. If the parent says something, the little child doesn't even, it never occurs to question. So we just embrace it like a little child. And to that degree, the door becomes open. So we have to get used to thinking in this way, understanding in this way, that Krishna is not hiding from us. Srila Prabhupada's not hiding from us. They're waiting for us to accept. Yeah. We have said it before, when you send an invitation to people to come to a party in the material world or to a wedding, it says, here's your invitation. They mail it to you, and it says RSVP. That means please respond. Let us know if you're coming. And so that invitation Krishna is sending to each of us, he's placed a Bhagavad Gita in each of our hands. Invitation card. Come, love me, and I'll reveal myself to you. Come and love me. So this aspect of Krishna consciousness, it seems can take some time. Why are we? Because we approach Krishna consciousness through our present mind and body. So we have to come very much into goodness. That's why Srila Prabhupada says a Brahmin can become a Vaishnava. The Brahminical quality, because of Brahmin, he becomes joyful. A Brahmin becomes very lighthearted and bright-hearted. In the lower modes, it's very difficult to overcome our hankerings and our lamentations, our feeling. When there's passion, there's attachment to the fruits of our activity. In the mode of passion, the intelligence, ahankar, no, that's false ego, mind, intelligence, senses, mind, and intelligence. When the intelligence has the conviction that we're always servant, we're eternally servant, but instead of serving Krishna, we're serving our senses. We're serving our senses because we have the conviction that if I do that, I'll feel complete. I'll feel fulfilled if I satisfy my senses. So in the mode of goodness, the intelligence is different. In the mode of goodness, the serving mood becomes, instead of self-centered, the serving mood becomes other-centered. Just like in the mode of goodness, people feel naturally, the symptoms are altruism, philanthropic, and in the mode of goodness, humanitarianism, this sense of taking pleasure in the service of others and enjoying it. One enjoys it. One enjoys. What does it mean? What is love? What does love mean? It's not. We have this conception of love, that love means that I have to fall on the ground, or love means that my hairs are standing on end and my eyes are full of tears. Love simply means Those are symptoms of very, very advanced spiritual stages of love. But what is love? Love is just taking nothing more than enjoying, taking pleasure in the happiness and well-being of others. Just naturally enjoying taking pleasure in the happiness and well-being of others. That's love. And so this is not self-centered. Mode of passion is only self-centered. That if I can gratify my senses or my false ego, my sense of that I'm very much respected because I have a big bank account or a big business, or or if I'm a politician and get lots of votes. This is passion, self-centered, but in goodness, it goes the other way. I take my pleasure in the happiness of others. Actually, it's a spontaneous feeling. So Srila Prabhupada very much wants us to come to the mode of goodness, to create a society of Brahmins. And that it's that same serving. Why is the mode of goodness a stepping stone to becoming a Vaishnava or a devotee? Because the serving mood is there already. But Srila Prabhupada is only a question then of understanding who is the real object of our service. Because if we're serving people by giving them food, serving people by feeding the poor, or giving clothes to the poor, or opening an educational institution for people who need education, or opening hospitals for people who need medical care. We're not actually serving the soul. We're serving their bodies. And we're not, but our real problems are that they're in the samsara, birth, old age, disease, and death. So no matter how much food we give them, we don't solve the problem of birth, old age, disease, and death. By giving them free university education, we don't solve the problem of birth, old age, disease, and death. By giving them medical care, now you can give them medical care, intensive care, as much as we like it, and all the prescriptions of different medicines, Ayurvedic, allopathic, whatever, the Chinese herbs, we still don't alleviate the problems of samsara, of birth and death. So all of this public service, volunteer for this, volunteer for that, it's not solving people's problems. It's like Srila Prabhupada says that when you go and a man is drowning and you dive into the water to save him, and you come back with the man's shirt and pants, but you let the man drown. The man, so we're drowning in the cycle of birth and death, and the people are trying to make their life nice by giving them some clothing or some food or some education. But so Srila Prabhupada said, but the feeling of wanting to give happiness to others, he says, that is simply a question under proper guidance to transfer this to the real object of our affection, a transcendental object to God, to Krishna, and to Krishna's pure devotee, when we transfer we're taking pleasure in giving Srila Prabhupada what he wants, what makes him happy. Then he reveals his enthusiasm, his joyful enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. He shares that with us. And we imbibe the taste of his devotion. So he's our teacher. He calls it an apprenticeship program. It's an apprenticeship program. We're learning how to love Krishna from him. He's teaching us how to love by sharing his feelings with us. And then we engage in Krishna consciousness with those feelings under his guidance, in his association, for his pleasure. And when he sees that we're trying to learn from him what this devotional mood is like, he becomes pleased, and then he shares more with us. So it's progressive. It's an ongoing relationship. Srila Prabhupada says, going from one stage in Krishna consciousness to the next stage, to the next, to imbibing the taste. First stage, anartha nivritti. Next stage, steadiness. Next stage, devotional feelings. Next stage, love of God. All of those stages are in his association. It's an apprenticeship program. Those are Srila Prabhupada's words. And it's all based on being childlike. Simple for the simple. That means that to understand we're being told, like little children, that we're living our life in an illusion. And it's not the reality. And the reality is that we're not these bodies, we're actually spirit soul. And that we have an eternal relationship with Krishna. And if we can accept that, it's only a matter of understanding. Why does he say it's only a matter of understanding and accepting? So the measure of our acceptance is that you just do it with that enthusiasm. This is Srila Rupa Goswami's, with enthusiasm and faith that it's a reality. And it comes into focus as a living experience for us to the degree that we accept it as a reality. And we keep practicing like that. We're practicing, what are we practicing? It's not that we're practicing these activities, it's that we're practicing this consciousness. It's called Krishna consciousness as opposed to material consciousness. We're practicing this consciousness. We're adopting it, we're embracing. It's simply a question of understanding and accepting. We're accepting that this is a reality, and we're practicing this consciousness, this joyful enthusiasm, and under the guidance of someone who's sharing his joyful enthusiasm with us. From him, Krishna Prem emanates. And if we catch it, our ignorance is destroyed. And this is not difficult. This is the most simple part of Krishna consciousness. The only thing that's in our way is that we have to, it seems to be that we have this material point of view. It seems to be that we have this this bias, this concept. It's a materialistic concept that, well, what Srila Prabhupada says, if I follow the formula, he says, he calls it niyamagraha. In Sanskrit, niyamagraha means that you're doing everything right, but you're missing the point. That we are doing everything right, but I'm missing the point. It's not about the activities of Krishna consciousness are not the goal. It's the heart with which I engage in these activities. These activities of Krishna consciousness are the medium through which I'm cultivating this love. You want to show your love for somebody, say, I'm living with my wife. So I say, I open an avocado. I should be offering it nicely, either mentally in my mind or placing it on the altar. And then but I don't eat the whole avocado. I say, would you like half? Is it the avocado? No, the avocado is only a medium through which I'm expressing a feeling of affection. It's not the avocado that's going to make her happy. Of course, she may want the avocado, but it's actually the feeling of love. Just like I was helping one lady, the lady who I go twice a year to have my teeth cleaned. So she said she needed some help doing some restoration on her mobile home. I said, I'll give you a hand. And so a few months later, she called me and said, I've been thinking about it. I'm going to take you up on it, on your offer. I can use some help. So, right. In any case, what I want to say is that it's not that by doing, keeping what Srila Prabhupada calls sarcastically the formula, or mechanically doing everything. It's all these things that we do are a medium through which you try to show your love for somebody or have them feel loved. Yeah, if you want to have someone to know that you have love for them, you do something. Maybe you buy them some flowers. But that's the flowers it's not the flowers that they need. The flowers are a way of showing what we're feeling. So Krishna says, offer me a flower, offer me a leaf, offer me even a little water, but with love. So it's not what we do so much. It's the consciousness with which we do it. Of course, I'm saying the same thing for the last half hour or 3/4 of an hour, but I feel that it's not understood. Maybe I'm the only one who doesn't understand it. Maybe all of my God brothers and peers in Krishna consciousness do understand it, and I'm the only one who doesn't. But I'm thinking that it's largely misunderstood. and that one can adopt this consciousness in a second. Srila Prabhupada says it's only a question of understanding and accepting, and Krishna only wants the love with which things are offered to him, and we have to embrace the understanding that I'm pure spirit soul, and be joyful. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the qualities of the Brahman are in different places. In some places, samodamas tapasocham. The first quality is inner peace of the heart. But in chapter 17, Krishna says mana prasada, inner serenity of the heart. In 18th chapter, Krishna uses other words. He says there's a trance, dhyana, a trance of inner peace. He says this trance of inner peace is conducive to the bringing the Brahma Bhuta platform into focus. So to adopt this, Sri Krishna talks about happiness in the mode of ignorance, happiness in the mode of passion, and happiness in the mode of goodness. So we have to practice being joyful and approach Srila Prabhupada with joyful enthusiasm, with confidence that he can receive our. It's just like I've been thinking a lot about prasadam. What's prasadam? Is that we have 3 prayers that we say, and then when you go through customs, when you're traveling into another country, the customs officers, they stamp your passport, rubber stamp. It's official, now you can go in. Does the food that we eat after saying these prayers, this is rubber stamped, now it's prasadam, now I don't have to think about Krishna anymore, I can eat as much as I want. You know what it is? First we offer it to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, and we ask then we offer it to Lord Chaitanya. But really we're asking Srila Prabhupada to offer it to Lord Chaitanya. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada has love for Lord Chaitanya. Mahaprabhu Kirtan and Rita Gita Paditra Madhyam Manasora Sena. So we sing every morning that the spiritual master has such feelings of love for Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya, and he asked Lord Chaitanya, we asked Srila Prabhupada to offer food to our offering, to accept our offering and to offer it to Lord Chaitanya. And we asked Srila Prabhupada to ask Lord Chaitanya to offer it to Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya offers to Krishna. Do you know what Lord Chaitanya's mood is? How joyful he is to offer something to Krishna. And then when Radha and Krishna but Radha and Krishna, they only accept what's offered to them with love. Because they don't need anything from, Krishna's not hungry for my food. Krishna, but it's a token. It's an expression of love. So, but we have no love. So or we have very little, or it's not purified yet. We have love, but it's not purified yet. So we offer We cannot approach Krishna directly. We have to offer through the disciplic succession up to Lord Chaitanya, so when Lord Chaitanya, then he takes so much pleasure in offering to Krishna. He's so joyful. And when then Lord Chaitanya takes the remnants, it becomes prasadam. He takes Radha and Krishna's remnants, but with such joyfulness. It's described how Lord Chaitanya, and then Srila Prabhupada takes Lord Chaitanya's remnants with such joyfulness. And then Srila Prabhupada says to us, now you can take. So, but in what spirit do we take? So we say this prayer. Sharira vidya jal jyotendriya tahekal jive phile vishaya sagare. O Lord, this material body is a lump of ignorance. The senses are a network of paths leading to death. Of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and difficult to control. But Krishna so kindly has given us this nice prasadam. Now let's take this prasadam to our full satisfaction, glorifying their lordship, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. And what's the last line? And in love, call on the help of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. What does that mean? What does it mean that we're calling on the help of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda? It means that when they take prasadam from Radha and Krishna, they're so filled with ecstasy taking that prasadam. And we're trying to follow in their footsteps of taking prasadam in the same mood. And in love, call on the help of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Srila Prabhupada says Lord Chaitanya is our leader. He's teaching us in the mood in which we should take. So while we're taking the prasadam, we're meditating on this fact that this has come down from Krishna to Lord Chaitanya, who taking it with ecstatic love, taking Lord Krishna's remnants, Radha and Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada, and is going down through the whole disciplic succession, and they're all taking it with so much joyfulness. And then they're extending that to us. So in this way, we're taking prasadam. So again, this is taking prasadam. It's another devotional activity, but it's not that it's a rubber stamp. And now I can talk about anything, think about anything, and just to fill my belly. But it's a devotional process. So this we're learning in the association of our spiritual master under his guidance. He's saying, now you take. And and take it in the spirit that he's sharing with us. So whether we're talking about chanting the holy name, or we're talking about taking prasadam, or we're talking about book distribution, or we're talking about cleaning the temple, or we're talking about anything, it's the consciousness that we're cultivating, the consciousness with which we do these things. And where are we going to get it? Srila Prabhupada gave a lecture 1966. He said, if you can purchase this love at the store, you should immediately go and buy it. Purchase. He said, but where are you going to get it? So we bought the it's from him that this joyful enthusiasm in Krishna's service is coming from him. He's sharing it with us. And we're apprentices in this. It's consciousness apprenticeship. It's not bricklaying apprenticeship or electrical wiring apprenticeship. It's loving consciousness apprenticeship. It's an apprenticeship program in which we're learning in his association. So we're practicing under his guidance in his association. And we're sharing what we're learning with him, saying, like this, Srila Prabhupada. Just by doing it with imbibing the taste of his devotion and practicing in his presence, that is our service to him. As Srila Prabhupada said, the blind following he doesn't want. He wants us to practice Krishna consciousness under his guidance, in his association, for his pleasure. Therefore, it says it's only when he's pleased that he blesses us with more understanding. When he's pleased. So how do we please him? We please him by taking from him what he really wants to share with us. What he really wants to share with us, he really wants us to become a moon that can reflect what is shining from his heart. So what we're talking about is that process. This is the process of Krishna consciousness that we're all engaging in. A child can do that. Simple for the simple. Child can do that. So we have to become like that, capable, and make this experiment. Otherwise, is what he's saying, not to taste the honey. You can't lick the outside of the bottle. You have to go inside and taste. So this is where the taste is. It's not a mechanical process. It's all we're trying to talk about. Why? We talk about it every week. Why? Because we're trying to learn it ourselves. It's by Srila Prabhupada says for us neophytes, the way to maintain ourselves is to, what does he say? To immediately and repeatedly describe this process, this path of devotional service. And then in order to maintain that we live on this platform, we should immediately and repeatedly keep talking about it, keep describing it. So because it's an orientation. So we talk about it because we're trying ourselves to cultivate in this way. So we feel the great need to talk about it because we have personally so much tendency to be forgetful, to be fruitive.